Test, test.
Test.
Test, test.
1, 2, 3. You better not have me in this.
You're not in it at all.
Oh, well, I don't trust
You're
you.
just a sliver.
Okay. I need to have my notes back, please.
All right, Jenny.
All right, David. How are you this evening?
I am great.
Okay.
Are you good? You got your makeup on still? You had
Yeah,
to,
you made me
I made you
stay in full form until
non-pajama'd and
Well,
makeuped.
Yeah.
Are you in your pajamas?
No.
Do you still need to take a shower?
Yes.
You got to do all that
I
and
started
make dinner.
my day at 5:30 this morning.
Crikey.
Yeah. And here I am.
Here you are waiting in for me.
Learning about Bitcoin.
You are going to learn about Bitcoin.
Well, that's a good thing.
This is like a real thing. These are the questions you're really asking me.
All right.
And you're really going to be intrigued.
Well, let's get popping because
Let's get popping because Daddy
need
needs
to
a
start
shower.
dinner.
We got things to do. Okay, let's go.
Okay. So you probably should have given these to me ahead of time. So
Probably.
I didn't sound so
I'll help you.
scripted. Okay.
It's scripted.
So I have no idea what Bitcoin is. What is it?
Bitcoin. Okay. Is that how it read?
And why should I buy it? Well, we already bought it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what is Bitcoin and what got you interested, started? Like why are we?
Okay. All right.
Why?
That just didn't sound like how I wrote it. All right. So Bitcoin is a digital currency. I should have had my own little thing so I knew exactly how I was going to say it.
Isn't this yours?
Yeah, no, that's old though.
No.
Just no. So this is kind of weird, huh? Because I'm really talking to you and I'm really telling you, huh?
And I'll try to look interested.
Okay. Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a digital currency.
Okay.
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 Any questions?
Not yet.
No.
Not as of
real.
yet.
It's real money. Did you know that?
Well, I hope
It's
so
real
because we
money.
put real money
You put
into it.
fiat money into. Look at this. This is genius. Look at this. So you take real money and you put it into digital currency, and then you could spend digital currency on other digital currencies, or you can take the digital currency and come out into your own fiat cash in any country. So our fiat is the American dollar, right?
Okay.
Or if you're in China,
The yen.
or if you're in the yen or the euro or the peso, you can come out of your crypto account and go into cash. But the way you always want cash, you always, whenever you can, you want to put cash into assets, right?
Do you know what the term for money is in Dubai and India? It's rubies.
That's some random bullshit.
I know. We were talking about
No, but that's
but
interesting. How do you
yeah.
know that?
This girl I work with went to India, and she said,
India, you said Dubai.
well, I think it's all by each other, right?
It's India-ish.
Yeah, right?
I don't know. Is it the Indian Ocean?
But anyways, they had to get their car smogged. They didn't get their car smogged, and they had to cross this little border, and there's these people sitting there and saying, your car hasn't been smogged. Give me 500 rubies.
Rubies. That's kind of a cool name for
So
money.
500 rubies was like $5. They just had to pay
Gotcha.
like $5. Anyways, totally off
Very
script,
nice
but
to know that you know some
just another form of
random
money.
shit.
Rubies.
Rubies.
Okay, sorry.
Rubies.
Sorry.
Euro, yen, cash. Okay, so fiat is crap, right? Fiat currency in every country right now is crap because of inflation. Every government's been in the same boat for the last decade for sure. 5 years for sure, printed too much money. So what is Bitcoin? It is a crypto digital currency. A lot of people are calling it digital gold because it has the same function as gold. Everybody buys gold to preserve their cash and it actually inflate. Because you stick your money in the bank account right now, it doesn't inflate, it deflates because the government's constantly printing money, right? Printing money is a deflationary debasing of your money. So people buy gold to add value to their dollar to get it to grow. So it's digital gold in that aspect. And what was the other second 1B? What was that part?
Well, it says, why should I buy it? But we already bought it. So,
Okay, no, but I'm saying why should anybody buy
oh,
what you should buy it to take the money you have now and start growing it for the future. Growing it for the short term, growing it for the long term. Because inflation is such a high factor nowadays, and it's the highest performing asset on the market by far when it comes to any asset. So that's why you should buy Bitcoin. Hit
okay.
it. Number 2.
Well, I want to put this in my own words.
Okay, yep. Read it. Do your own words.
Paycheck to paycheck. Okay, so like most everyone, I'm sure, you're trying to get a little ahead in life. You're trying to take every little red cent that you have, whether it's like savings or whatever you have left over after you buy all the necessities. If a person's living paycheck to paycheck, how can they get into the Bitcoin game?
So there's many ways you can get into Bitcoin if you don't just have cash, right? You can if you have no money to spare in your paycheck to paycheck, you can do like what I've done and sell a truck, sell a golf cart, put money on a credit card even was something that I've thrown around. Mama has shut it down. I was going to use a 0%. This is just an idea, food for thought. And I'm at the level where I would do this, but at the same time I'm married and we have to compromise. So
we need a white flag with you.
We need a white. Mom's got the flag and she waved it. I would use a 0% interest credit card. I would put my mortgages on that 0% credit card and put my $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 money that I would my paycheck, instead of paying that straight to my mortgage, I would pay that and deposit that into an account to buy Bitcoin.
We can edit this, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So what?
You can't put your mortgage on a credit card. You can't do that. That is a proven thing. Like there's no
I
bank.
think that is an option.
No, it's not. It has
you
to
can't
be,
pay a mortgage?
No. Cannot be put on a credit card. It has to be.
No, let's not edit that.
It has to be a check.
That was a thought that I never looked into, huh?
Yes, so you can't.
No, there's okay. So look at okay. So this is what it was. This is what we were gonna do.
At least I don't.
Because we had this conversation. We asked, can we do that? We don't know.
I'm pretty.
But you're right.
Sure I know, but
I don't know.
Because then, what if you defaulted on the credit card? You still got your house. That's
this is what we said, or this is where my brain went. Is okay. Say the mortgage.
You could probably take cash out of your credit card.
This is what I was gonna say. You could pay your gas bill, your electric bill, your Verizon bill, your car insurance bill. All those lead up to being thousands of dollars a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you can put on a credit card. I know for a fact you could pay those bills.
But you and I always have this conversation. So, it's like if you're putting that on a credit card and you're living paycheck to paycheck, how are you ever going to pay that credit card?
Well, you have to time it. You have to do the risk, because you have to say, okay, if Bitcoin is going to grow, if it's going to grow 50, 100% in a year, which is an optimal situation, if you put, say, $20,000 on a credit card in the year, right? Like doing like what I just said, a couple $1,000s a month of paying bills with your credit card.
Mm-hmm.
Now, hopefully that money that your paycheck was putting into Bitcoin, hopefully that grew 50 to 100%. So if you put in, 20 grand, you'll have either 30 or 40 grand, right? Mm-hmm. After that year. So now let's just say 40. Let's say you put 20 grand into Bitcoin and it grew 100%. Now you have 40.
Okay.
40 grand. So at the end of that year,
technically you only have 20.
Now you have 20 because you take 20 and you pay off your bill. You pay off your bills. And this is real shit. This is what people do. There's people that I watch YouTube channels. They put all their bills and they stack up these credit cards and but it's risky. It's crazy. Maybe I shouldn't even keep going down this road, but that's an option. What was I saying? So sell something you don't need.
Just to where you can get some
how
cash.
you can get Bitcoin. This is going to be a little lengthy right here, because you can also buy Bitcoin through a retirement fund. I have a self-directed IRA, which means you can buy a lot of things that a typical IRA wouldn't allow you. A traditional IRA or a Roth IRA. My self-directed IRA, I could buy private equities, I could buy real estate, I could buy cryptos. So that's one way I was able to buy a lot of Bitcoin. My other way was through my traditional 401k. Jennifer has it too. We have a traditional employer-sponsored 401k. What normal people do when they get a 401k, they set it up, they type in a date that they want to retire. Did you do that? You did, I think. We selected 2045 as your retirement date. You'd be 65 years old. And that portfolio is set up to invest moderately or aggressive or moderate or whatever, depending on the date you want to retire. Anyways, long story short, you can get out of an account like that and start a brokerage account if your 401k allows you. So Jennifer did it and I did it. We called Fidelity. Hey, I want to set up a 401k. What was I saying?
Oh, good Lord. You were saying
a brokerage account.
Yeah.
So what I did, because I'm super aggressive with this, I sold
Speaking German.
all of my, and basically when your 401k, you're invested in a bunch of index funds. Index funds are total weak sauce, but they're known to be good because everything is such a low performing asset nowadays. But anyways, I sold all my index funds, went into a cash position, and they take all that cash, let's say it's 50 grand, they move that into your brokerage account. I sure hope this is rolling. I don't know. I have to go all the time. They move that 50K into a brokerage account. Now it's up to you to go and buy the stocks that you want. What we did was we bought Bitcoin ETFs.
What does ETF stand for again?
Electronically transfer fund.
Okay.
I think something like that, which is kind of like a index fund. It's money grouped together by people, put into a certain investment, and you own shares of that stock. So we're all in on our 401ks through a brokerage account, buying Bitcoin ETFs or Ethereum ETFs. And this year they will be, or next year, but I'm pretty sure this year, they will approve the XRP and Solana ETFs. So what happened last year when they approved these ETFs with Ethereum and Bitcoin? They shot, I think Ethereum was at, or Bitcoin was at 40,000, and it went up to 75,000, all because of institutional money flowed into those ETFs. Don't want to get too deep, but once an ETF gets approved, a lot of money goes into it, and the price of those cryptocurrencies goes through the roof. So there's crafty ways to obtain Bitcoin or Ethereum, these ETFs. There's sell something if you don't need something, because I think even $5,000, $10,000, whatever you could put into Bitcoin, and within 5 years, I really modestly think that 10,000 would turn into $100,000. I want to lead that into something else, but I know that I'll get there. So go ahead and ask me number 3.
Do you want me to go to a different one so you can lead into that, or
no?
Okay. We'll just keep it rolling.
Let me just roll into this.
Okay.
And it's a question in here, and I'll just tell you which one it was. When I think it was down towards the bottom. But what I was gonna say is that if I was a millennial, if I was a Gen Z, and you're living at home with mom and pops, and
number 10,
most kids, and trust me, I know a ton of Gen Zers. I've got some of my own, and I work with some and know a bunch. So the consensus is that they are screwed when it comes to buying a house. There's actually a lot of bitterness that the older generations, Gen X and the baby boomers, have ruined the economy for them and hiked up prices so high they can't afford anything. The new real estate is Bitcoin. So while you're living with your parents, you could be putting money. You could act like you're paying rent, or act like you're paying rent. If you're not paying rent, act like you're paying rent and put $500 or $1,000 a month into a Bitcoin account. And before you know it, in 5 years, you will have the money to buy a house. So you're not doomed. You're not screwed. I personally think this is the method. This is the program I got our kids on, is because they are in the same boat. It is a actual factual thing. Everybody knows that. It's hard for a grown-ass adult to afford anything, let alone these lower wage youth. So Bitcoin is our saving grace, or cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin's the OG. Bitcoin has been tried and has the most history and data and proof and the best network and all the above. Go ahead, young lady.
Okay, so you have your money. Is there a minimum amount of money that you need to have?
No, so Bitcoin right now is at 100K, 96, whatever. A lot of people think that because it's so expensive now, they're like, oh, I lost out, right? Because it was not long ago. It was just 1 year ago. It was in the high, it was like 40, right? A year ago. So everybody just keeps seeing its growth and thinking they messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you should look at it as that same growth is going to happen for 0.1 Bitcoin as it is for 1.0 Bitcoin. 1.0 Bitcoin is 100,000, but 0.1 Bitcoin is 10,000. 10,000. But if Bitcoin's getting a 50% annual rate of return year over year, so is that 0.1.
Mm-hmm.
So that 0.1 is growing exponentially. You know what I mean? It's the same as if Bitcoin was $10,000, right? So just remember that Bitcoin is one solid Bitcoin is worth $100,000, but you can buy what they call Satoshis. Mm-hmm. Satoshis are the not macro. What's it? Micro version. Sure. Like a dollar. There's a dollar, and then there's cents. There's a Bitcoin, and then there's Satoshis. Satoshis are the fractions of a Bitcoin, and you could go all the way down to 0.0004. You know what I mean? You could spend $5 and buy Bitcoin and start buying Bitcoin.
Okay. So
wait, let's recap on that question. Did
I didn't really ask. I kind of asked my own question. So
okay.
So, but that will lead into this question. Did I answer your question? Yes. So you have your money, and that's why I asked about the minimum. Is maybe people don't know how much they can have or need to have before they purchase.
Okay.
A portion of a Bitcoin.
Yep.
So we'll just say you have $10,000, and you're ready to go buy your 10th of a Bitcoin. How do you do it?
I was checking you out. What did you say?
You are so stupid. I'm not going to sound smart again. That was a really good question. You're making me.
Damn. I zoned out, babe. You know I do that.
Yeah, say that again. So you have $10,000. You buy a 10th of a Bitcoin,
10th
correct?
of a Bitcoin. Yep.
Okay. So how do you go about getting your $10,000 in the game so it can start making money?
Okay. So you have to, if you don't go the other routes that I talked about, like through your 401k, it would be a brokerage account. I'm sorry, not a brokerage account. You go through a crypto exchange. So we use crypto.com. The crypto app, there's probably dozens of apps, but there's crypto, there's Coinbase, there's Robinhood, there's Kraken, there's Swan, there's a ton of exchanges that you could just go, you wire some money, or you could do a bank transfer, ACH, or you can use Apple Pay. You can use like 4 or 5 different methods to send into this exchange. You go into a cash position. You have a fiat wallet, and it sits there until you start buying your cryptos. You choose which ones you want to buy: Bitcoin, Ethereum, blah 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 blah. So that's how that's done.
How do you know which ones will benefit you better? Like whether it's Bitcoin or.
So you need to. Everybody needs to do their own homework. Bitcoin historically, Bitcoin has.
They're all Bitcoins, though, right?
No, they're all cryptos.
Oh.
Cryptocurrencies, and then there's the under cryptocurrencies there's Bitcoin, Ethereum, and this is the pecking order because Bitcoin has the highest market cap, meaning it has the most amount of money in it, right? It has the most amount of money in it. So there's Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, blah 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 blah. So Bitcoin's history, I go with Bitcoin with the majority of our money because it has the most clout, it has the most history, right? It has the data, that's what all the rich and the, not just the rich people are buying, but just what the institutional wealth, meaning the business owners, the corporations, the countries are pouring their money into Bitcoin because it has that a little bit less risk, because we've got 17 years of data to show that it's a very well proven asset. Where Ethereum, XRP, all these other things, they have just come about a little later, right? And they have different, every one of these coins, they all have different operating systems and networks and security and all these different things, charges, how much it charges to do a transfer, to buy, to sell, you know what I mean? So Bitcoin has mostly been focused on because owning gold, I'm going to roll right into some other your other shit. Owning gold, owning real world assets is a pain in the ass, right? So if you want your money to grow, let's go with gold. Gold is, you got to get a hold of a gold broker. You got to decide where you want to hold your gold. Do you want to hold it in your house? Do you want to hold it in your garage? Do you want to hold it in your basement? Do you want a truck full of gold coming up? Do you want to hold it in a depository?
Yes, I do actually.
It would be cool. I kind of do want a little bit more gold.
Pulling up to the house.
Do you want to hold it in a depository? There's certain depositories in this country. I had mine in Delaware. I think it was Delaware or something like that. In a vault in Delaware. I'd never even seen the gold that I owned. So it's a hassle. And then if you want to sell it, you got to go through a broker, and it goes out on the open market. If you want to barter with it, no matter if you own a lot of gold and that's all your wealth and you're going to move to Nigeria, good luck getting that all on a plane. There's all these reasons that cryptocurrency has its worth. Some people just don't understand any of this. But the same for real estate. You know, it's very hard to get liquid in real estate. You got to do a refinance or you got to sell. That takes 30 days to get your money if all your wealth is in real estate. But if me and Jennifer want to retire tomorrow, all of our money's in equity, in crypto or Bitcoin, we can move wherever we want right freaking now. We don't have thousands and thousands of pounds of gold and silver. We don't have all this real estate to sell. We don't have all the burden of that. So that's the point. That's the other functional, logical reason that everybody's getting into Bitcoin. And it has the history of the highest rate of return, beating all assets, real estate, stock market, gold, silver, paintings and drawings, art, right? There's all these different, and it outperforms everything, and it's going to continue. Do you know why?
No.
Did I get your attention? You
You
were
did.
sleeping.
I wasn't sleeping.
Do you know why?
What? Why?
Because it is the real. All these are a lot of these things are considered commodities, right? In most commodities, the supply and demand factor is what makes a commodity worth money, right? There's a limited amount of gold. There's a limited amount of stocks for certain
Company.
Tesla, right? Exactly. Certain amount of houses that are built that you can buy. But all of these commodities could be changed, right? Depending on your effort. We could build more houses, right? There could be all these economical things that influence these commodities. Gold, we could find more mines. We can all of a sudden have more. There can be an influx of these assets, which is going to reflect the price of the asset. So Bitcoin, you can't change. You can't change. There will only be 20, once they're all mined, once they're all out in the market by like 2040, I think, there's only 21 million Bitcoin that can be owned, right? So, and that can't, it won't change. So it doesn't have an infinite supply. It has a limited supply. So that's why everybody, and that's the investors that know this, know, okay, the more and more people buy into this, the closer we get to 21 million, that's why a Bitcoin is going to go from $100,000 to $1 million, because the supply and the demand.
So there hasn't even been 21 million of these Bitcoins.
There hasn't even been 21 million mined yet. They're still mining them over
What
the
does
next.
that mean?
Mining is the process of
Like
making
a little person with an axe.
of more and more. This is where I'm weak, but
little seven dwarves.
I'll condense it. Is mining is the process of pretty much Bitcoin is released into the blockchain. The blockchain is what verifies all these transactions in all these different countries. So the mining process is, if me and you were a miner, we'd have these computers, right? It'd be fucking gnarly in here. And it goes through all these mathematical equations and verifying all these ledgers and transactions. And through the process of work, that's when a certain, I don't know all the details, but that's when, say, I owned the mining equipment. Once I achieved a certain amount of verifications, that's when a Bitcoin would be awarded to me. That's your award. And don't ask me how all that shit works.
Yeah.
If you want to know the details on that kind of stuff, there's a thing called the white paper. It's a 9-page thing from, this is the Satoshi Nakamoto. He's the one that came up with Bitcoin in 2008. But it talks about how the details of all that stuff, the mining, the ledger, the blockchain.
It's like a business plan for Bitcoin.
It kind of is. It's the roadmap of how this system's going to work, right? I still haven't read it. I read the first page, but I haven't read the whole thing. That's my
Sounds about right.
That's that's right. So anyways, the limited supply. So I know that kind of covered probably some of those things.
It did. It did. But
by the way, this is going so much better than when I did it by myself.
Well, that's good. That's good. So I feel like this isn't like going effortlessly into something because we're kind of jumping.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
So you buy into it. It starts making some money. How do you know when to pull or when to keep?
So that would be based on your goals and where you are in life, really. So like short term or long term. If you can hold on to your Bitcoin for long term, hold on to it long term. If you're like a day trader kind of person and you had a great month and your Bitcoin rose 60% or 100% and you went from, you put in $1,000 and you're sitting at $1,600, and you want to cash out. But this is a long run thing. This is something that needs to be bought into. or take a portion. I've sometimes thought about selling just small portions of my account just to make a little bit of extra money, like, oh, $1,000 this month I made, but keep the majority in there for long-term
Is there
growth.
a penalty on that?
No. Well, the penalties is taxes.
Oh, you got to
So
claim
that's
it.
the next, that's kind of in there too.
Mm.
So that's the other part is taxes, is that from the time of buying a crypto, you have a year, within a year, if you buy and sell within a year, that's short-term capital gains, which is around 37% taxes. And so if you hold your crypto for longer than a year, you're in the long-term capital gains. And so you get taxed at around 25, 27%. So that 10% taxation is huge, right? When you're talking about a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, but also if you need money in the now, you need to do what you got to do. So, I would say hold on. This is what my plan is. Hold on for the long run. I don't even know how long. I'm going to hold on to it as long as I can. Decades, 10, 20 years. As I need money in life to do the other things I want to do, I will take a security-backed loan against my Bitcoin. This is another thing that leads to the functionality and the beauty of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies is it's just like an equity, pulling equity out of your house. Is you have value in your house, you can pull equity out of your house. You have value in all this Bitcoin, right? In the banks, in this economy that we live in, that's what makes the world going around, is loaning money. You know what I'm saying? Loaning money. If we just waited for everybody to have money to spend money, we would be a broke third world country. But that's why we tap into the equity of everything. People take loans. If you have a small percentage, say you own $1 million in stocks, right? You're allowed to get a security-backed loan based on how much the value of your stocks. So because crypto and Bitcoin is becoming a bigger thing, now the banks there's more and more lenders lending with your Bitcoin as your what do you call property? What do you call property when as your not leverage?
Asset?
No, as your collateral. Yeah. So and when you loan, because if you sell your Bitcoin, whether it's in a year or more than a year, within a year or after a year, and you're gonna be out the Bitcoin that you bought at a good price, whenever that is, and you're out the Bitcoin, and now you're getting taxed. So if you can just hold in there and wait, let that grow to a really nice dollar amount, then you can just take a loan out, and you still own the Bitcoin. Obviously, you're taking a loan against it, and you're paying it back, but you're not getting taxed, and that's huge. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about a lot of money, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, where you could pay cash for a house, right? You could take out a when we're at $1 million or a couple $1 million worth of cryptocurrency value, I could take a security-backed loan, pay cash for a house, right? And then rent that house out. So there's all these cool things that you can do as an investor. Just food for thought. But that's how and what to whatever that last question was.
It was just in reference to.
I know
because I'm listening to you, but then I'm actually thinking of other things to ask because this is just so over my head. But if you put $10,000 into Bitcoin, do you ever lose that $10,000, or do you always keep your 10? Oh.
If you own $10,000 in Bitcoin, it's very, very far-fetched. Everybody knows that Bitcoin is volatile.
But where does it go?
It's never going to go to zero.
But where does that money go?
It's never going to go to zero. It just goes down, just like a stock. The value of the stock goes down, right? So say you own Tesla stock and it's $400.
Your cash is liquid.
And the market dives. You still own a share. You still own that share of Tesla, but now it's worth $200. So if you, which it's comparable to a share, you own a share of Bitcoin, you own
Yeah.
a piece of Bitcoin. So when the market crashes, or sentiment, whatever hype
Well,
goes
I
on in the
think
country, and it goes from 10 grand down to 5 grand.
Well, I think people
It's going to recover.
understand a stock. They understand that. Like
But
obviously a failing company.
okay, but what do you know? It reflects a stock
hold on.
and Bitcoin's value. I think that's what you
well,
actually asked.
what I'm asking is you can grasp what there. It's like a tangible thing, right? Like Tesla. That's the one you keep bringing up. Like if Tesla's stock suddenly crashes, you think, oh, okay, not selling enough cars. The car company got a bad rap.
Right.
You know, maybe liberal
Right.
people are like, we're not buying our Teslas anymore because he's working for Trump. Whatever the case may be,
Right.
that's a tangible thing, and you're saying, okay, this is why.
Right.
But Bitcoin's not a tangible thing, essentially. At least in my mind, it's not a tangible thing.
Okay,
So
no, what
who
affect? You're
is
right. Okay, so
deciding of its highs and its lows, or its negatives and its positives, or its influx or deflux? Is that a word?
So what reflects its price
Mhm.
is gosh dang it, I wish I knew that. So when you have,
If you don't know the answer, it's fine.
No, I
we
do.
can look into
It's
it
money.
and see
It's
what
money.
it is.
So this is what it is when, say, MicroStrategy sells off, $10 billion worth of Bitcoin, right? They own a lot of Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, or David Foe owns a lot of Bitcoin. Just say a lot.
Yeah.
It's just like if you sold a bunch of houses, a bunch in that neighborhood, and now there's a bunch of houses on the market, right? Now it devalues all those houses because there's all this competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when people dump, this is the volatility of
So
Bitcoin.
if everybody sells their Bitcoin, there's going to be a problem.
When everybody sells their Bitcoin, we've got a problem.
And is there warning signs of that
when,
happening?
When you see Bitcoin doing this right now, that's people getting in and getting out. And then when everybody's in the hold position, everybody's bought
it's like a
and
flat
hold,
line.
and they keep buying, the value keeps going up because there's less and less available, right?
Okay.
So that reflects.
So does that go away? Like if people buy and then sell, does that amount then go back down? Is that so? Like let's say 10 Bitcoins got sold.
10 ain't nothing.
Okay, but
it needs to be
easy numbers. Easy numbers right now. Easy math for.
Okay.
Okay, so 10 Bitcoins, somebody bought them, and that same person said, "Nope, I'm getting out." Does that now put 10 Bitcoins in the field again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He took them off the market and then he put them back on.
Okay.
But what reflects the price is the oh man, I keep thinking I'm getting things mixed up with the stock market, but it's basically the market cap. So you have X amount. The market cap is, I believe it's I might sound retarded right now, but it's okay. You can Google it, and I'm going to Google it definitely after this. But what gives things of value is the amount of shares times their current price evaluation, some shit like that. So it's the value, like that would be the stock market. So the shares available, shares available times the price evaluation of the company or some shit like that, right? So so when Bitcoin is low, the dollar amount is low. When you see it's at 50, if it went from 96 to 50, it's because there's an abundance of available Bitcoin on the market
because people got
right?
out.
Yep, people got out. But when people get in, it's that time of year. People are getting in, buying in, and there's less and less Bitcoin available. So that's how.
Okay, so that leads to another question, but I'm going to keep this personal to you because you're asking. It kind of goes back to when to get in and when to get out. When do you personally feel like? Do you have like a sign? Do you have like a moment?
Actually, that's a really good unscripted question.
Well,
because there's
I want to know.
I buy in no matter what. I don't wait for a down or an up. To me, it's always good. And there's MicroStrategy is another company, and there's a lot of people that do this. It's called daily cost average. They call it DCA.
Mhm.
So buy whenever you got money, you buy, right?
Mhm.
So you buy when it's high, you buy when it's low, blah blah blah. So MicroStrategy is the biggest holder of Bitcoin right now, biggest company, um, and their daily cost average is like around $60,000 per Bitcoin, right? Because they buy high, they buy when it's low, they just constantly buy, so that's an average, right?
Yeah.
It's an average. So that's the theory that I go off of too. I know that $96,000 is going to be cheap someday, so I just buy at 96,000.
Yeah.
But I don't ever wait for the low because I get FOMO and I feel like
So you feel like
like
even
it's
if it
on a
plummets?
rocket ship every day.
Gotcha.
So I don't wait for a low. I feel like today's the low.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's
And
the
you have
low.
no desire to pull out. You just want to put more in.
More in, never gonna pull out.
Okay, moving on, because you have this here. And I know you want to talk about this. How to protect your Bitcoin.
This is how you protect your Bitcoin. So there's, like I mentioned before, about owning Bitcoin through your IRA or your 401k.
Taxes, and then that's pretty much
Okay,
it.
okay. Where were we?
You were
Okay, so how to secure your Bitcoin? Owning your Bitcoin through.
Well, I think you need to tell the story of what led you to here.
Okay, so I will get to that.
Okay.
So when you buy Bitcoin on an exchange, crypto.com, Coinbase, whatever, your money, you're relying on that app on your phone, and you're relying on that company to protect your Bitcoin. Where recently I had a 24-hour scare where I could not get on the app and I could not access my Bitcoin, and I was losing my shit, and I've lost sleep every night for 2 weeks. I ended up getting in it a day later, but after that it scared the shit out of me, and I realized I needed to do something more with my Bitcoin. So there's different ways. They're called cold storage or hardware wallets. So, and this is basically like a credit card. It's an NFC card, and I've got another app where I transfer my crypto to that, which transfers it to this essentially, and you can hide your stored Bitcoin. It's in now your self custody, and you can hide this in a safe or at your mom's house, wherever you need to store it. You got an access code that you have to remember. You have to write down. You have to share it with your spouse so she knows where it's at. It's complicated. This is all complicated. Ain't nothing in life easy. We all know that. So that's one way of storing it, and I diversify myself too. I use all these different means of owning Bitcoin. Like I said, I've got things in my self-directed IRA, my 401k. We're bought in, so to some degree, the ownership of the Bitcoin is on the companies that we're invested in. So Fidelity, Bitcoin, FBTC is what we're invested in. So we own Bitcoin and all these different means. So if I lost my hardware wallet, if my crypto.com thing crashed, like I'm still invested in all these different places. So it's crazy, but it is what it is. I mean, it's not like gold that's sitting right in front of you, and you got to do these things that give you comfort, whatever gives you comfort. But yeah, there's ways to secure it, and it's pretty legit. All right, what else we got?
I think that's really it. So I guess the next question, how we can end it is tax season. Do you claim it? How does that work?
That's great. So taxes, for a long time, you could have gone under the radar. But as of 2025, there's new things that have been set in place, like our IRS has mandated any U.S. companies, like not U.S. companies, just anybody that's doing or buying cryptos in America. Um, they're telling these companies, crypto.com, whatever country they're in, they've been mandated that if you're selling crypto and you have accounts with any Americans, that they have to report our earnings. So at the end of 2025, the IRS will be sent from crypto.com
U.S. holding
my activity in the account, where that's never happened.
And
But
do you get your
that's
basic
new
taxed
shit.
on that?
That's new
Like-
shit. This
like-
is new shit that also makes you realize that crypto's not going anywhere, right?
Mhm.
They keep making new new policies and stuff like that. That's obviously going to work for it.
Okay.
So, yeah, don't sell it so you don't have to get taxed. So that's the best way to go. But no matter what, if you're buying into Bitcoin, buying into cryptos, you're going to win in life. So is that it?
So do you only have to pay what you put in, not what you made, or you have to pay
whatever your gains were, whatever your realized gains.
So if you
were.
put 40 and made 80, you only have to pay on 40.
That's right.
Okay.
And it's either 25% or 37%, right?
Yeah.
But if you can hold on to it, just take loans. Always. That's the way. That's the way of the smart investor, is always take loans against your assets. Never sell them. Is that
All
it?
right. Well, I think we should end it to, what is your prediction with Bitcoin? Like, what is your timeline with Bitcoin? What is your hopes and dreams?
because there's still a lot of institutionalization going on, which means big companies taking a portion of their balance sheet. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. MicroStrategy, I keep talking about that. Tesla as a company keeps buying Bitcoin, adding that to the balance sheet because it's making their stock rise. This is a like a synthetic way of inflating stocks. So it went from 20 companies that did this to, like, literally it's becoming hundreds and hundreds of companies. And it's what I would do if I had a lot of money sitting in a cash reserve from my business, I would buy Bitcoin with it. So it's institutionalized corporations in countries. El Salvador has done this. El Salvador has been buying Bitcoin for the last 5 years, and their country's deficit, they're planning on within 10 or 15 years, which this is a third world country that's been in a deficit its whole life, and they're going to be a thriving country
Because of Bitcoin.
Because of Bitcoin. They're turning. They have a Bitcoin city where they're mining Bitcoin, and there's literally leaders from other countries starting to visit El Salvador because they want to see how it actually going. And it's actually there. It's an amazing story. And so we're supposed to buy. Trump has talked about our U.S. strategic reserves, putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet. So when America does, going back to where do I see it going, when America buys Bitcoin and adds it to the balance sheet, other countries are going to do the same. Big countries are going to do the same thing. And when that happens, they're buying bulk, and there will be less and less Bitcoin available. So the little guys like me are going to win. We're going to win. So I think regardless if the countries buy it, it's such a big thing with the institutions and the corporations right now to inflate their stock prices. This is going to keep happening. It's not going to stop. But I think one Bitcoin will definitely hit $1 million, I think, within 5 to 10 years. And then after that 10 years, when Bitcoin is becoming more and more scarce, it's going to be 10 million. I don't know, one Bitcoin, 10 million.
Wow.
In 20 years. And that's being modest. I'm trying to not make people laugh.
Yeah.
But $1 million in the very short term, one Bitcoin.
Well, it's already almost there, yeah?
Within 5 years.
It's almost at 100,000.
There's people that are speculating that if the U.S. Strategic Reserve buys this year and other countries start adopting the same thing, within a 1-year time frame, there's people that are very bullish saying that there will be a $1 million Bitcoin in a year. Me, I think 5 years. I think 5 years. So this is something that nobody should snooze on.
Love it. Any ending words?
No.
Any rap?
No.
What are we supposed to do now? Fist pump or
No.
not fist pump, but
Nothing.
nothing. Okay, you just end
I
it.
just end it.
Okay.
Thanks, my beautiful wife, for helping me. This was take number 3 or 4. 3. This is take 3. I keep coming here. I worked a long day.
On your own.
Yeah, I did 2 takes, and my energy was just too low. I couldn't air it. So I was like, babe, you need to come and help me. So, anyways, thanking her for sitting in. Love you guys. Get rich.